Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast, NWA Power Review, which means only one thing. I have got an astute colleague alongside me, or not literally alongside me, miles and miles and miles away up the top of the north side of the UK. It is Miss Fiona Lockwood. Evening, Fee.
Good evening. The sun is out. It's been a nice couple of days.
It has indeed. And well, we're back again with another Power Review. You're kind well, actually, let's just talk about last week because we clipped these presidential stuff that we had that we were talking.
Did. We did.
Yours went
I'm
through the
sad.
roof.
Stop the. I'm sad.
Yours went through the roof, but a bit we'll get into that. We'll get into it in a bit more because the presidential elections continued with a shocking revelation this week on Power. We will get to that, but let's start with the opening to Power this week, and it was slightly different. Usually, Aaron's been, still getting on Tom's or getting inside Tom's mind and
For
trying to,
thinking he is.
or thinking he is, and trying to play mind games with Mr. Latimer. But I feel as though this time, Latimer this time challenged Aaron before we even started the show. Aaron was like, well, Tom's challenged me. I accept, but number one, the championship's got to be on the line. And number two, it's got to be in his home.
That's the thing. What does he mean by in his home?
I'll tell you about what I think because there's a bit more happen. You may not. Yeah, I'll see it at the end. There's a bit more that happens at the end of Power with Latimer. So I will explain about that, and I'll go into my theory as to what we're going to witness,
Okay.
shall we say. But Aaron has indeed accepted the challenge of Tom Latimer. Well, but with a twist, as Aaron would always do, right? It wouldn't be Aaron if it wasn't.
It really wouldn't. It really, really wouldn't. Nothing's ever straightforward, is it? Let's be honest.
No, it certainly is not. But what was straightforward was the opening contest. Now, this actually was two newbies to the end,
Hmm.
right? Two newbies in the women's division, Kelsey Heather and Valentina Rossi, and they were going against La Rosa Negra. And actually, I actually thought this was a really, it was a good tempo actually throughout the whole of this match.
It was from the start. They just came straight out. It was really fast paced. I thought it was a great opener for the show. Haven't seen what I've seen of the rest of it. So I don't know much about the other two. I know Valentina Rossi's Florida based.
Yep.
I'm not sure where from exactly, and I don't know anything about Kelsey Heather either.
What did you make of both of them? Obviously, debuts in the NWA, as you say, you don't really know a lot about them. Did you think that they've maybe, done enough to perhaps get another outing?
I'd like to think so. I think a few new faces in the women's roster in NWA is a good thing.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I think we spoke about it before, though. The roster's constantly changing.
Yeah.
They don't really, well, they do have a small core, but you tend to see faces come in and out and they'll be there for a season and then they'll vanish again. So
Yeah.
we might see them a few more times. Whether they hang around or not remains to be seen.
I hope they do, as I think both of them at least deserve another match for sure. The only one bit that, that did confuse me in this match was one of them went for a pin and the ref didn't move to make the count, and I was like, "Hang on a minute, what? Like, why are you not going down to make the count?" But it wasn't their fault. It
There could
was
have been any number of reasons for that.
there could have been, to be fair, but a really good competitive match. We haven't seen La Rosa Negra since the empty arena match.
No, we've not.
Um,
She was looking great. Her hair extensions and all that jazz. She was looking fabulous.
she was indeed, and it was the aforementioned La Rosa Negra with the Cokie Splash. Uh,
That's a huge splash.
for those of you that it is a frog splash, but it was with some height. Let's just say she gets some hang time.
She does indeed. She
Some
does
really good
indeed.
hang time. So La Rosa Negra picks up the victory, and maybe La Rosa Negra's got her eyes on one of the championships in the NWA
I
now.
don't see why not.
No, I don't see why not
She
either.
works hard when she's there. She's one of the ones that I would say absolutely deserves a shot. So.
Well, we'll see. Obviously, Kenzie's one of them who's a Big Mama, right? She's still the
Mhm.
old one. We haven't seen Big Mama in
We haven't seen
ages.
her for
What's
ages.
going on? We need to see more Big Mama as well because she is the television champion, right? That is, I
She is
am
indeed,
right in
yeah.
thinking that. Thank Christ for that. Her first presidential promo, well, kind of a say, promo. It was kind of repeating from what we've seen the last few weeks from Mr. Kazana, who's literally offering his children out to people now.
Cracked me up, honestly. He's so funny.
Obviously, he's doing it by the book, of course. I
Of
mean,
course. There's no
the,
other way.
no, that there is not. We'll get into the presidential stuff later on because I will announce the results of our vote and who's been eliminated, and I'll say who's in the lead in the NWA's polls because
Hmm.
there is a lot and there's some quite surprising stuff going on in that one. But we'll get to that. But next, of course, it was tag team time. There was a couple of tag matches. The first one was the Colons against the Immortals, my favorite tag team in the NWA. I thought this was great.
This was so much fun. There was so many quick tags and ins and outs, particularly in the early stages. The clones just like totally isolated Kratos, and it was tag, 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 tag for what seemed like ages to me, to be honest with you. They played it smart. They played it smart.
They did also attack the the injured bicep of Odison as well.
They did later down the line. Why not? He had it strapped up. It's a big target, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
like, whoa, look at me, I'm hurt. Here you go. It's a cannon fodder, and why wouldn't you?
I thought that was great. I mean, because they saw, it's like the old school style, right? Someone, how many times do you remember we're growing up as a kid where someone used to have the ribs taped or the
Hmm.
the knee brace, which is now synonymous with wrestling, right? They would wear a
Yep.
knee brace and bang, there would be a move that happens that instantly then attracts the punishment to the knee.
It makes sense. You're in a match to win. Go for the weak point.
Definitely. And I would say though, freakishly strong Kratos, the double back suplex or whatever
That was so cool. I was like, wow, that well impressive.
that was really impressive. It would be interesting Crockett Cup implications perhaps with this. I mean, we know the
Mm.
Immortals are there. They made a good point on commentary saying, well, I think Joe said it, well, they were finalists, and everyone kind of said, well, they didn't win it, did they? But it would have been Deals come along and said, made a point. But yeah, I'd like to see the Colognes at the Crockett Cup.
I just saying and talking about deals popped me at one point. He was in the croquet cup as opposed to the
Oh,
pocket cup.
yes, he was.
I popped for that. I was like, that's impressive.
It,
But yeah, and then he was shut down very quickly by Billy at that point. But
he
I popped
was.
for that.
But croquet is like bland in terms of colors and whatnot. I can't imagine Danny Dills on a
Oh, I
croquet
can. Drunk Danny Deal's playing croquet.
in
Absolutely.
like a
That
rainbow
that
suit.
that would be comedy TV gold.
Well, Billy, look, you've given us, oh, was it only slams? You've given us cooking with Carlson. Why not give us, I don't know, croquet with Dills?
Needs a better name than that.
Oh,
We'll figure it out. But
we
yeah, I'd be down for watching some of that.
we need it to happen, Danny. Well, you're kind of, giving us some false hope here. We want to see some croquet with Danny Dills. It has to
It'd have
happen.
been even funnier if it was like a crochet cup.
Oh my God, crochet cup. My goodness, you could have deals, you could have gags, you could have.
Ah, just think of the possibilities. They're endless.
I think we're giving them idea. We might have to charge them for this. If this is the NWA after all, guys, and
Anything's possible. You know it. I know it. We all
anything,
know it.
anything is literally possible. But back to the action, as they say. The end of this. I mean, they did throw a chair in the ring, which I felt quite surprised.
Evan Keenan was on the ball though.
He
Smart
was.
man.
I
Well
mean,
done.
to
Kudos
be
to the
fair,
ref for being on the
to
ball
be
for this one.
to be fair to him though, he couldn't really not see it. It literally landed at his foot.
This is true. This is true. But he did the right thing as an
He did.
official should, and he kicked it out.
He did. No, to be fair, he absolutely did. And some refs wouldn't even see that. So big up,
Exactly.
big up for that. But I mean, uh, Sami Zayn does a good Blue Thunder bomb. I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of a Kratos blue
Mm-mm.
thunder bomb, which is what the one of the clones was on the end of. And actually, I thought this. I don't mean this in any disrespect. I thought it was quite a surprise. A victory for the North. I know they're the finalists of the Crockett Cup, but I would have put my money on the Colognes winning that.
Really?
Yeah. Mhm.
That surprised me.
Sorry, guys. I am an Ahu, though. I am
Yeah,
definitely Ahu. But
okay.
my money for I first thought the Colognes were going to win it, so they did.
Okay.
But big win for the Immortals as we move closer to the Crockett Cup next Saturday. It's being
It's
taped. Yeah,
Saturday, a week on Saturday. I
in
know it's exciting.
a week on Saturday. So we will see it August. I would have July, August. I would assume. I know.
I wish it was live.
We've had this conversation every week, and I
I
agree with you
know.
every week, especially if everything more
And
so
I'll keep
this year,
saying it.
but more so this year. I mean, with with everyone they've got there,
Yeah.
I'd love it if it was live. It's a shame that it's not. We then move to Bryan Idol and his repeat of his promo. Quite a, don't be disrespectful, Bryan, but it was quite a dull promo.
But the funniest thing is the facial switch at the end. Like
Oh,
I just I don't know why it cracks me up, but just the change in his facial expression at the end kills me every single time I see it.
I don't know if that was like left in there as a rib.
Just to take the piss, every
Yeah.
possibility, but it's funny. I'm down for that.
For those of you that haven't seen it, it's a smile that turns into a frown. It's like someone said, "Cut," and you're smiling, and then that's how it goes. But Bryan Idol still in the presidential race. More
Mm-hmm.
on that in very, very shortly, actually. Well, we go back to the Page household again, and Kenzie's sweeping the grass, or sweeping the leaves off the grass, shall I say. She's still very stressed.
She looked very stressed.
We can't have a stressed Kenzie Page.
She's got a lot on her plate.
She does. She admits that. She said, no, she's still the champion. She's still the tag champion. And she's got a wedding to plan. Where did that happen? We didn't see that on NWA television.
We did not.
Hunter Drake, yes, it is Hunter, yes, proposed to Kenzie. Apparently, they got a wedding. Kylie's there as well in the household. And Kenzie's like, she's losing it now. And Kylie's like, you know what? Why don't you just postpone the wedding?
Push the date back.
Why would Kylie Page want to push that date back unless something has gone on with her?
Something's going down.
This goes way back like 6, 7 weeks, the very
Yeah, this has
start.
been, yeah, there's something. So I don't know, like
It started with the look on that
something's going
cutting.
on.
Something has happened between those two. But nevertheless, we don't know what it is. But Kenzie Page has agreed to push to that. She was also annoyed that Bryan Idol would challenged Hunter Drake to a match, which is the main event of Powerr. But yeah, she's pushed the wedding back. And yeah, it was like Kylie Page was like, "You're Kenzie Page. Go and treat yourself. Push your wedding back."
And then she's like, yeah, I'm gonna do something for myself. So what is she going to do for herself, though? That's the $1 million question.
I don't know, but I have a feeling it's all going to end in tears. And I'm not talking about tears on a wedding cake either. But we'll see.
We
I have
will.
a feeling come the end of the year, the Page sisters are going to be fighting each other come the end of the year. I mean,
I'd like to see that
I
purely from
would.
a wrestling point of view, obviously.
Absolutely. But I mean, Kenzie Page does have even more on her plate next Saturday at the Crockett Cup because
She
she's
does. She does.
defending the Burke against Natalia Neidhart. Natty Night. Sorry, it's
And
Nat.
this is why I wish it was live.
Right.
Natalia, Kenzie, Hammerstone, Silas Mason, like Rhino, Tom,
Yeah. I know Latimer.
like,
Right.
and I'm not going to see it for months. I'm so sad.
And the Crockett Cup, of course,
Yeah,
on
and the
top of that.
Crockett Cup.
See, it should have been two
Although
nights
this
of
is
it.
what I was talking to someone about this the other day. There is someone else who I talk NWA with, and we
What?
were just saying
Hold on. Wait a minute. What do you mean you talk NWA with somebody else?
just a general
Oh,
conversation.
my
Don't worry.
God.
But we were talking about it, and the hype for me seems to be more for the singles matches than it.
Mm,
actually is for the cup.
yeah.
Like it's the Crockett Cup. It's supposed to be the biggest, grandest tag team tournament, and the hype seems to be for all the singles matches.
Maybe it's because they just haven't announced the tag matches yet. I mean,
And
that's
I feel like it's going to be a small Crockett Cup because as far as I'm aware, I don't think any of the preliminaries have actually happened.
not that I'm
Not
aware
that
of.
I'm aware of. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't, unless they're happening at the territories, I have no idea. But I'm just thinking back to my trip out to Nashville in the Crockett
Yeah,
Cup, and it
it
started out with like 32 teams over the two
did.
nights.
Yeah, you're
That's
absolutely
one
right.
hell of a wage bill. But
Yeah, there is no.
um but it started out, you had both sides of the brackets and it was like a huge amount of action. It was two long shows and two long nights, and I wouldn't have had it any other way, but I don't imagine. I'm almost like, is there only going to be 8 teams? Is there only going to be 4 matches in the first round? Do you know what I mean? Is it going to
Yeah.
be? I don't know.
Well, I was just looking while you've been talking, and so the ones that I've sent you, and it's like the Knox and Murdoch are clearly in there.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Slime Balls that
Mm-hmm.
they're in the Crockett Cup. Sorry, I'm just trying to find more. BFT are in
Mm-hmm.
the Crockett Cup, so that's free. Um,
We've got the Southern Six.
7-6 is four. On a separate note, the Tonga twins are going to be there as well. I know they're not going to be in the men's Crockett Cup, but
Okay,
they're there. The EC3 and then Pretty Boy Smooth.
that's 5.
That's another one. Did we say the Immortals? I can't remember.
No, we didn't. I don't think so. That would be
The
6.
Immortals. You've got the Lost.
7.
You've got. There's another one. I'm sure there is. Oh, the Nightmare Syndicate.
That's 8.
Mr.
Okay.
Grimm and Moses. That's the latest one. That's 9.
9. Okay. So they
They're-
need to have at least one more.
I reckon 12.
Yeah, maybe.
I reckon 12. But I agree though, there is a lot more hype. And I also think it's because there's no one like new. I mean, Moses is new, obviously, but last year I think they had like the Samoans, they had Devon's sons were in it a year or two
Hmm.
ago, if I remember rightly. And that was my excitement. I was like, wow, like obviously tag team wrestling is great and not, but it was nice to see these newer faces that we did.
Yeah, very much
Um,
so.
what was that one with that? Was it the record player or something? I can't remember the guy's name, but do you know the
Oh,
team?
it's VHS
That's
and
it. That's who I meant.
I can't remember. That's a shame. But
But
I've
like,
seen him wrestle before. I saw him wrestle in Tampa and he was great. So,
and you had like the Stew crew. They were in it last
hmm
year, if I remember rightly, from the territories from
Yeah,
Joe
they've not been
Kazana.
around either actually
No,
much.
no, Joe Kazana Promotions, of course, from the Stew crew. I think they don't know if they still are the tag champions. They
I had
was.
no idea.
Oh, the Country Gentlemen are in it as well.
That takes you up to what,
10,
11,
10.
10?
Mhm.
So I guess
See,
we'll see.
we will see. Now, back to the most important part of NWA Power, the presidential campaign. Before we get there, before we get to the NWA's president campaign, as you all know if you've been watching, we've been running our own. Last week, much to his chagrin, we got rid of Pastor last week, Pastor CeeLo.
We did. We did indeed. He was
He
our lowest voted.
yeah, he wasn't happy either. He he really wasn't happy with it. Was Mr. Pastor CeeLo? CeeLo, sorry. He was very. The message was like what when we said he was out,
The people
but
spoke.
we run it again this week, and thank you to you all that voted. And suffice to say, there is one person on here. I'll read them all off in a minute, but one person ended up with 0 votes this week. And he is eliminated from the our competition, which is Bryan Idol. Bryan, I don't know what you've done, my friend, but
Well, yeah, and that kind of appears to be on par with the NWA votes.
it does. But we are a little bit different. I'll get into that right now. So the final three for us. So our fight. I don't know when the presidential thing is going to end on the NWA. Our one ends next week. So there's going to be one more vote this week until next week. 'Cause it'll be the longest vote. It'll be tonight, this Wednesday, till the next Wednesday. And the winner of that vote will become our presidential pick, shall we say. for the NWA. In third place this week with 16% of the votes was Joe Kazana, or as I called him, Joe Kazan. I forgot the A. Sorry,
Oh,
Joe. Sorry, Joe. In second place, and this is where it's going to get interesting in a minute, was Trevor Murdoch,
my boy.
your boy, who got 36% of the vote. And in first place this last week, sorry, into this week was Kenzie Page, who got 48%. So the final three for us for next week's reveal for us who's going to be our presidential pick is going to be out of Joe Kazana, Trevor Murdoch, and Kenzie Page. But fast forward into reality. On
Yeah.
Power, that poses, well, that vote, you may as well top it on its head near enough because they were sitting down, obviously, they were sitting down with Joe, they were sitting down with CeeLo and Bryan Idol, as well as Trevor Murdoch. Now, the NWA's vote has passed to CeeLo out in the lead. They have Kenzie Page second,
Hmm.
Trevor Murdoch third. No, sorry, Joe Kazana third, Trevor Murdoch fourth, no one fifth, and Bryan Idol in sixth, which that kind of
Yeah.
leads, to where we're voting. That was kind of agree is kind of right. However, obviously, Pastor CeeLo winning it, and he's already out of our pit on our one. However, as they start talking amongst themselves, there was some breaking news out of the NWA presidential election campaign. Trevor Murdoch is out. He has eliminated himself, Fee.
Yeah. Trevor, why? Why?
Well, we don't know. Well, he did kind of
He's going
mention.
to do what's best for the NWA and what's best for the NWA territory system and what's best for everybody else.
Well done, Trevor.
Suspending his campaign.
Suspends it. Well, he suspended it. He doesn't necessarily walked
Well,
away.
that's it. But he's also suggesting that Bryan does the same.
Well, Brian, to be fair, zero
Bryan's not
percent in
really got
our
much to
vote.
stand on. And well done to Joe for just being like, there's no substance.
Well,
You're
there
pulling
isn't, and
low. Why are you bothering?
but if you're not give, but he did say if you are going to disappear out of the campaign, you can give me your vote. He's offered Bryan Idol a house in Florida or something.
Sorry, no, I was talking about Joe Galley.
Oh, Joe Carly,
Yeah, so I
sorry.
was talking about Joe because Joe was like, "You're pulling low. Why don't you just like, why are you still continuing? There's no
Oh
substance to
yeah,
your arguments."
yeah. At the start, yeah, he did say that, didn't he, Mr. Joe? Great, but Joe Kazana, on the other hand, was doing his best bet at bribing and like
No, there's no such thing as bribing in politics. How very dare you?
he offered Bryan Idol a house in Florida.
Brian's his friend. He's just helping his friend out.
What did he offer Trevor?
He offered Trevor Chiefs tickets.
If he
Like
wins
he
this,
just, Joe Kazana's just a guy looking out for his friends, allegedly.
yeah, I mean, if he wins this, he's got a lot of debt to pay.
I'm not quite sure he's going to be able to do that.
He's cashing checks his ass can't cover right now. Is
But we
Joker's.
don't know that yet.
We don't. No, we absolutely don't.
Maybe he's
Anyway,
like a secret millionaire.
he is.
Maybe he's
Maybe.
one of these like fixers with the
Fixers, they're
shady.
going. The fixers hate each other right now.
No, I mean like a fixer that's
I
got the
know what you
shady
mean.
things going on and just.
Maybe he's like a private investigator with that hat and the glasses and the book.
I
He's like
think there's more to Joe than we realize.
that book is actually a camera, and as he opens it, the lens, and I don't know.
I don't know.
Nobody do I.
Have you ever
Anyway,
seen the book open?
don't know. I can't. I don't recall.
Probably glued shut.
Yeah, probably. But they do use it because he is by everything done by the book, right? With Joe Kazana. Anyway, let's try and get some. I would say let's get back to reality, but we're just about to talk about cags. That's like, is that reality? I had no idea. The Lost were in action against
Yeah.
Plunky, who we haven't seen. Oh,
Oh, so good. Plunky, Mid-American champion. Yay, go Plunky.
go Plunky. And if you want to book Plunky for your podcast, head over to podstars.net where you can book Jeremiah Plunkett for your podcast and the NWA World Heavyweight Champion Tom Latimer and EC3 and Aaron Stevens. So if you fancy some really good podcasts, head over to podstars.net and get some of your NWA talent on that show. But anyway, it was Plunkett and Ocasio versus The Lost. I tell you what, Ocasio looked like a man possessed at the
He
start of this.
did. He really did.
He was flying, well, he wasn't flying, he was sending them flying. He was all over them at the start of this.
Yeah, he really doesn't appear to like Gags and Alex Misery.
No,
I get that impression.
I do get that impression as well. I want to. I really want to see Ocasio more. We never got to see the match with Latimer, obviously, 'cause it was like a special house show, wasn't it? Over wherever it
Hmm.
was. I want to see more of this guy because he's got something. I don't know.
I quite like him. I was just
Mm.
more excited to see Jeremiah back in an NWA ring though, because it's been so long.
And I was happy because Gags was wrestling, and I knew your face when I saw it come up. I was like, great. But yeah, Plunky was good. I mean, when's the last time we saw Plunk? I mean, we've seen him do the vignettes with Aaron recently.
We have, but the plunket we'll probably all remember from NWA was the Ill Begotten with Alex Taylor long before the Southern Six were a thing. So
Southern Six.
yeah, it's been a
They've been
while. I
cons
think Jeremiah's looking great.
years.
And I'm really, really glad that he's got the NWA Mid-American Championship.
I'd like to
Just
see it
now.
defended on Power.
Yeah, I would too. I would too. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it would be great. I'd like to see it. I mean, I like Alex Misery as well, to be fair. I think he's very he's one for the future there. He's a great athlete. I mean, he was flying around in this as well. Gags was being Gags at the end of the day, and you know what you're going to get with him. There was a lot of Gags was doing a lot of distracting in this one a little bit, and then as they were working over Plunky for a little bit in this match, he finally
They
tagged.
double teamed up a little bit as well. They got some
Mm.
good double team action in, particularly on Ocasio towards the end.
Yes, they did, and
Probably the wrong thing to say when Gags is there. I caught that one. It's fine.
they did. Now, to be fair, they did. And then he finally got Joe back in, Joe Ocasio back in, or Ocasio. I think it was Ocasio, right?
Right. I can't remember. Sorry, Joe.
I'll have to watch the video again if I do. If I am wrong, I apologize, Joe. Yeah, they finally tagged him in. He hit a lot of big moves again, but we spoke about Lev, I think, briefly just then, and he comes in. He's got, I swear to God, Lev, because he hit a really good finisher. I need to view it back because I think that is the fidget spinner that Taylor James does in Ignite Wrestling. I need to check that back. And
Okay.
if it is, I'm going to clip it and send it to him. Get him done for, see what he said. Look, man, this guy in the NWA is nicking your move. I'll have to see. But he did hit that move and it caused the DQ.
He did. And James Mitchell's there as well. So
Yes. We haven't seen Max since
I think
Max left.
Max and Father James have potentially parted ways. There's never been an official,
Nope.
but yeah, it looks as though Father James potentially has a new brood.
Oh, the Brood. I like the Brood.
I like the brood as well.
Gangrel, Edge, and Christian. He does though. He does seem to have a new faction in there. Max. We last time we saw Max was when Max lost to Frank
So they did.
in the Jack Stane first
Yeah,
round,
that's
if you
right.
remember rightly. Um, anyway, so it caused the DQ. They beat down at the end, and it cut away. It cut to Kenzie's presidential campaign.
It
Her
did indeed.
wanting to make NWA fun and everything, like she's been, she's got a lot on her plate though. I don't know now. She's got a lot on her plate. Do I really want to put the presidential thing on her now? Because she's got so much on her plate.
You were so adamant you were voting for her last week.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it. I just feel a bit sorry for her because she's got too much work on right now in the NWA.
She can handle it.
Well, we'll find out if she can handle it. But it goes us in nicely into Bryan Idol and Hunter Drake. This was a teacher versus student match. And what I did like about this is, and sometimes in wrestling, storylines can be forgotten and you can forget about stuff that's happened. And there was part of this where Bryan Idol was going for a suicide dive and the referee stopped him. He was saying your shoulder, which I thought was really a neat thing to do. It cut to a break at that point and we got past CeeLo's presidential campaign. Um, then it come back. We had Chop City for a bit between these two, chopping each other. Hunter though, and we've seen him quite a few times now in the NWA. His work ethic is great. I really enjoy it. I enjoyed the fact that in this one it was kind of like Bryan Idol was the bigger guy, Hunter was the
Mm.
quick youngster, and he was finding ways to hit some, high octane moves on Bryan, which I thought was really, really good. But He did hit a standing shooting star in this as well. We look very impressive for those of you that want to
I
see
need to
it.
see that back.
You need to see that back. But he did eat a big super kick by Idol, followed by the clover leaf. And and he tapped out to Bryan. Eventually, I actually thought when he had him to Cloverleaf that Hunter was going to sort of grab his leg and roll him up for a sneaky one, but
That would have been interesting.
it would have been. They did tap out though, but good sportsmanship at the end. Bryan Idol not shaking hand and hugging Hunter Drake, so good bit of sportsmanship at the
Okay.
end. But it wasn't over. NWA was not over. Where it started with Arons saying to Latimer, "Yes, I'll accept your challenge. It's got to be in my house." Latimer says, "You know what? He's showing grace. He looked up to Aaron. He's so talented. He turned dog shit into money and all of this sort of stuff. Everything."
Wonder who's referring to about that.
I'm not sure. Well, maybe some of the stuff in WWE. I don't know. Maybe when he was the
Who
Miz's puppet.
knows?
I don't know. Um, but he did say that he accepts the offer of the match at Aaron's house and he's going to kick his ass. Here's my opinion. Where we've seen a lot of new stuff, this new sort of fly on the wall stuff from the NWA, we're going to get a cinematic match between these two. You know, the dream that Aaron has, or that looks like it's
Hmm.
dream with what, that's where this is going to happen.
Okay.
That's
Interesting concept.
that's my
Not
thing.
a new concept that's been done
No.
before.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's my thing on it. I think it's going to be one of those, Bray Wyatt type matches, like a Firefly Funhouse match or, something along those lines. God rest his soul as well, Bray Wyatt. And
Okay.
yeah, that's my call. That's my opinion on it anyway. I
I like the idea of that.
think it'd be fun. Smalls, Stackhouse. Sam Stackhouse, who got turned on actually on GCW by the artist formerly known as Fuego del Sol.
Ooh.
Frago, who he actually had, and I'm sorry to sort of go off at a tangent, quick. He actually had so many people believing that he had actually retired. Even wrestlers were coming out and
Mm.
tweeting saying, great work with you. He hadn't retired. He retired Fuego del Sol. I can't remember his name
No
now,
wrestling.
but he gave I think he gave an electric shock or electrocuted Sam Stackhouse in the match,
Ooh.
or tasered him, one of the two. But anyway. That was NWA, another fun-filled edition of Power. 4 matches, which is a nice format. We like the 3 4s. I think they're better than 5.
Yeah.
They didn't mention hard times next week, so I'm assuming we're back at the Power Station again.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know that to be right.
I actually forgot we still had hard times. That's terrible.
We do. We've got 4 or 5 weeks of that yet, which is I'm expecting. Well, to be fair, it could come soon. It could come as early as this coming week's Power, which we'll wait and see for. But we'll wait and see for that. Normally at the weekend, we get some indication as to what's going on. I'm loving the new video packages and stuff that they're playing to show you what's
Yeah.
coming up this week. That's really, really good as well. But Fee, last week, how was your shows and what is cracking this weekend?
Where was I? Oh, I was way up in Nairn on Friday. That was a hell of a
Was
drive. That was an entertaining 3.5 hours in the car.
I could imagine.
I will not go into that. Nobody wants to know. Needless to say, somebody lost a t-shirt out the window of the car, and had to spend the rest of the day shirtless. Wasn't me, just to put that out there. It wasn't me. Um, so that was Friday. That was fun. Show free weekend after that. This Friday I am with Premier British Wrestling in Shots. Once again, ringsideworld.co.uk for the tickets. Next weekend's a busier weekend. Pro Wrestling Scotland on the Friday. Worldwide Wrestling League, aka W3L, on the Saturday in Dunblane. I know they have a show on the Friday night as well. And then Valor Wrestling on the Sunday.
Vala, rest say hi to Chris, right?
I will indeed.
Yeah, say hi to Chris when we hope they have a great. They all have great shows. I was tagged in I think a Premier British Wrestling post. I think it was Premier British Wrestling or Pro Wrestling Scotland, one of the two, post on Instagram. I hadn't shared it yet, actually. I will do. But yes, have fun on those shows, and hopefully they're a roaring success. Speaking of roaring success, that brings me to Ignite Wrestling next Sunday. I'm on my holidays next week, and I'll be still here doing our NWA stuff, but I'll be in Cornwall. But when I'm back from Cornwall, we hit Ignite Wrestling. Just 3 seats remain next Sunday. That is going to sell out. Having said that, if you can't make next Sunday, but you want to come and see Ignite, well, good news. They've put tickets on for the next show in July, whilst I just quickly trek through Eventbrite for the date. It is the 13th of July as Ignite Wrestling and everyone in Ignite Wrestling reaches its breaking point. 13th of July. Go and get your tickets if you, well, if you, even if you can make it to the last stand, get a few tickets to the last stand, get your tickets down as well for Breaking Point. Come and see me and say hello. If you want to, you don't have to. It's not an obligation. You can do what you want. But oh, fun enough, tickets are already selling for Breaking Point. So get there and see that as well. Come and see the Last Stand as well next weekend. And of course, we may or may not be able to announce some names for Buckle Up in September, September the 21st. So, and that will be going us out in July. But tomorrow, we hopefully Fee and me we'll be back with another edition of NWA Spotlight. We'll be recording another edition of NWA Spotlight with the five-star athlete of the NWA, Miss Ruthie J, will be joining us. And we'll find out what she's been up to since her empty arena match with Arons.
That was
Negra.
good.
It was indeed. But Fee, I'm going to be on my holidays next week, but I will happily join you on some NWA power
Oh,
stuff.
I
So
feel honored.
you should be. I'll be in Cornwall. But with that being said, and as I've said that I'm coming on to announce the winner of our presidential campaign, shall we do this again next week?
We shall.
We shall. We'll see you then. Until then, everybody, buckle down, stay safe. Goodbye.